If you're a boater, you're probably going to end up on one of the larger lake systems. If you're not like a big water boater and you don't need the chain of lakes, some of the small lakes offer like a great value. They're quieter. You're more likely to see a loon or a moose than the big cigar boat whizzing by your point at 6 in the morning. And that's the way it is. You know what to expect if you're on some of the big lakes. And it's great. If you're a boater, I'd probably be out there with you. Our own little place is on a back lake, and we like it a little quieter, except when we have visitors, and then we get out on the boat and do all that fun stuff.
You're listening to On the Lake, the podcast that explores the rhythms of waterfront living and what it takes to build your dream lakeside home on the Canadian Shield. And now for your host, James Pitcherpov.
Hey everyone, thanks for getting back to us on the Lake. We are going to be your resource for cool cottage design and construction ideas. So let's get right down to it. Should you build or should you buy? Well, it's 2026 right now. We're entering a new construction and real estate season, I guess. And I have a lot of people asking me about relocating, retiring on the lake, and so on. Why should they build when they can buy something? So let's get into it and let's see if building is for you. Like, what is it all about? So, James, we're almost retired. We go to the cottage a lot. Our kids are older now. We would like to bring them back to cottage, but they haven't been here for 5 years. We could just move to out of state or out of province, or what's the big draw? So the draw for a lot of our clients is the memory of being on the lake growing up, and they really want to keep this in their family. It can be a big loss. Once you sell that simple little 1950s or 60s cottage and you move on to something else, sometimes things just aren't the same. What's not the same is that you built your own memories there, and hopefully moving forward, you can build something of your own so that you can create your own memories and really have your input into things. And these days, there's more options. You don't need to go to the big builders because they're not familiar really with the culture of what gets built on the lakes. Small local builders may not be that organized. You know how it goes with labor in various areas. Just try to call somebody to shovel your snow before you visit it later this month. It's hard to get anybody getting back to you on anything out there. You really need to group of people that you can work with and who have designed and built. I find that clients of mine tend to be fairly well educated on things. They're a lot of times they may be in management or business. They're used to having an idea and wanting to see it executed and having a vision. So a lot of clients out there, and you may be one of them, secretly have their wish book and their ideas. They just don't know how much things cost and who to trust, who to talk to. So what I like to do is I like to compare things. I just put them side by side and give everything a fair shake. Should you buy another cottage? If you're looking for just plain ease and something right away, regardless of the perfect orientation, or maybe the room layout isn't exactly the way you would like things if you had your druthers, sure. If you're going to be frustrated in the design process, definitely maybe something like that can work for you. What lake areas? Well, I would say lakes that you're familiar with, have good memories on. Lake you grew up on is great. If you're a boater, you're probably going to end up on one of the larger lake systems. If you're not like a big water boater and you don't need the chain of lakes, some of the small lakes offer like a great value. They're quieter. You're more likely to see a loon or a moose than the big cigar boat whizzing by your point at 6 in the morning. And that's the way it is. You know what to expect if you're on some of the big lakes. And it's great. If you're a boater, I'd probably be out there with you. Our own little place is on a back lake, and we like it a little quieter, except when we have visitors, and then we get out on the boat and do all that fun stuff. So first step is finding the location that you like. We've heard this from my other podcasts. Up to a certain point, sure, you can buy a place, you can renovate it. Things can become a money pit pretty quick. If you're sinking $200,000 or $300,000 into an older place, you better like it, because a lot of them, the money is going to go unseen. Putting the cottage on a foundation, bringing in new water lines, redigging a well, the septic system probably isn't that great. But adding a simple addition is great. But once you start changing windows and the siding and so on, it's hard to stop right there. You got to keep on going, and these things are endless repairs sometime. Don't have to take it from me. Ask some of your friends that have done it. They'll let you know what the stories are, and the good and the bad, and the horror stories and all that. Should you build your own place? Well, what I would say is, if having a choice is important to you, if you have high expectations, meaning you think that through a design process and planning and building something on your own, you are going to have a design and a lifestyle that fulfills your hopes and your potential and your dreams for your future lifestyle, and it will, then it could be for you. The one thing is that designing a place takes patience and vision. So clients bring me their vision, and they're pretty explicit about it. They have a wish list, they have photos, they have memories of places they've gone to, they know what they like, what they don't like. They go on our website, lakesidearchitecture.ca, the build book. They get in there and they tell me what their goals are. And then here's where it differs with Lakeside Architecture and possibly other designers. I work very closely with clients. I work with you closely. I take your ideas and your vision, and very quickly I put it into 3D modeling, both digital and physical as well, like physical modeling. The reason this is important is we do not know at the onset of the project exactly what we're going to end up with. It's not a purely linear process. It's a process of exploration. Let's get your ideas down and try them out. You think you need 4,000 square feet of living space for a cottage? Possibly you do, but let's start with something a little bit more modest. Let's look at different floor plans, arrange things before we get too attached to one design. And then with 3D modeling, we can turn the building around, we can add windows, drag and drop kitchens, stretch windows, make larger, smaller doors. I should do a podcast and show you the projects and how we work. Or you can give me a call, 647-226-9860. I will literally walk you through one of our projects and show you how to work in a way that you have a lot of choice and control. Why does this work for clients? It works for clients because there are so many options out there, and I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you start giving me an idea of the things that you like, I can steer you to what has worked, what I've seen, what I've specialized in, and then we'll find the sweet spot so that your vision can align with a budget that you have. What sort of budget should you be looking at? Well, just think of your place in the city. If you're selling it and you are moving to cottage country, consider it an even trade. Maybe you have a little bit of money left over after you sell your place in the city. The advantage, though, is that you will do everything custom. And there's a famous architect that said, Alto actually said it, was that your living spaces really change. Not only do they affect how you feel and how you think and your productivity, but they really change your whole paradigm. If you're building a custom place and you enjoy the process and you can work with people that will listen to your ideas and help to design and mold them, but will not dictate to you. But if you have that sort of interest in learning from what other people have experienced, then a custom place can be really exciting. What do I like about building custom? Like, what is it that James at Lakeside likes about being on the site? Like, what can I bring to your project? Well, I started out in Huntsville, Lake Muskoka, Lake of Bays, a couple on Lake Rosso, a lot of the small lakes around Lake Muskoka. It was the epicenter of work over the last 20 years. Be happy to show you some of the projects. They've historically been in Oakville, in Burlington. I've had a couple of American clients. People come to me, they rely on me to help them out on remote projects, interesting sites, getting the trades. Currently, I'm running several crews under the construction management company, I should say. So you really have to be in the culture of the build. So let's talk about that. Are you in the culture of the build? Chances are, if you've ever had lunch in small cottage towns, if you're boaters, if you like dock parties, if you play lawn darts when you're at the cottage, crokinole, flying squirrels come around your bonfire at night, you know all about that. You like s'mores, you like elegant dinner parties, you like meeting people for dinner at their dock, and you want choice. I realized that there's no reason not to have a choice, and I learned early on that you have to deal with the right people. So you have to find people that are like yourselves. And you'll have to determine that independently. What I found as a younger architect, I would bid out projects to various sub-trades and so on. This is what you do, right? They're working with heating suppliers, for example, that we're already familiar with in Huntsville and other places. So we know the numbers. I know the numbers already. When I'm bidding, we know the numbers. And they're coming in with all different costs, these contractors. And one person's coming at $50,000, another person's coming at $70,000, the third is $85,000. But I know the suppliers, and they should be in at $50,000. So where's all that money going? It's being taken out of the project. It's taken out of the design and subsequently the build quality. So I started working on design builds, and for various reasons, that format of work is not promoted. Now it's separate. Architecture, construction management. I got into the construction side more, and I realized that when there's savings in the work, everything should be open book and the savings should go to you. Why? Because at the core of it, you're building a place. I want you to have the best value, the best materials. So that requires a little bit of a budget overall on projects. If you're excited by going to quarry to check out the different types of stone that they have. If you like the idea of going and looking at timbers, you ask yourself, do I like Douglas fir timbers? I'll tell you now, I think they're way better. Without prejudice to any timber suppliers, they're better for the application than white timbers. But we have white pine timbers in Ontario that can be used in certain applications. You have to decide what you like, but you need to see it. Do you like custom? I mean, really custom kitchens, bathrooms, millwork. I mean, it's a whole different thing in cottage country. Wavy, live edge wood, quarry granite, bull-nosed, soapstone. There's a lot that's possible, but it takes time to figure out. So if you like the process and you like looking at options, there are a lot of options. Do you like the stone floors? Do you like in-floor radiant heating? Can I get water from the lake? Can I do geothermal for you? Our clients actually get excited about geothermal heating. It's great. We run the tubes in the floor. The lake water is condensed in a boiler, so it releases the heat. It circulates, and then I'll put a concrete pour on it, it's modern, but in this setting, it all looks fairly rustic and natural. We'll use aggregate from your local quarry to match the stone on your shore, grind it down. It's beautiful, and it holds the heat. You cannot get that with a standard builder. It just wouldn't happen. And you have to decide, are we excited by those prospects? Like, do we want to look at different aggregate? And do we want to look at different ways of building fireplaces, seating, indoor seating, outdoor seating? For example, you can get landscaping from different sources, but can I get you a great stonemason that's going to we get you good slabs at a good cost? They flame the edges, they chip it, they make it look natural, it's all fit. Our masons, when they do a fireplace, you could take a credit card and you're not going to slip it in between the joints there. These are really skilled people, but it takes time to find people that you can work with. So that's the first thing. Are you excited about working collaboratively? But the idea is the vision comes from you, and then we'll develop it. I've worked with hundreds of people, and I've been all over cottage country and beyond. So hopefully, when you have an idea, your visionary idea, I can bring to you what worked, what didn't work, how much things cost, what went over budget. These things sometimes have gone over budget, but let's know the cost ahead of time so now we can plan for it. That's the benefit of experiencing a little bit of gray hair, is that you know what to expect. And then, do you like the idea of working on a design with you, and we're online, and we're going to modify the model and turn it around and change the roof line? James, we need a steeper roof, a lower roof, switch back to gable. We want monoslope again. That process, I actually find pretty fun and exciting. I don't find it frustrating or annoying. Like, this is design. So if that's the sort of thing that you think you can benefit from, you can benefit from designing your own place, because you're going to get what you want sooner. And you'll know if it works for you or if it doesn't. The second exciting thing is the way that I work. I have BIM, which is sort of CAD-related pricing on my models. So if you say, James, we love that giant lift and slide door, the huge one, like we have to have it. How much does it cost? And how much does the cost reduce when you go from like the 14 or 16 foot width to the 12-foot width. Like, this is important to know so that we can use pricing updated from the model immediately. Like, it's all plugged in. This is the way that I work because I've done it so long, and there's better technology right now, and I've needed a better way to work with you as the educated client. So we can try different ideas out, and you get the pricing right away. And I'm sourcing for you. I have it sourced. I have crews ready for you. There's a separate company, and then I can provide designs to you, and I'll get your permits and all the regulatory stuff. Can we build on the lake? How wide can we go? Do we need approvals? Shoreline? Are you buying the shoreline road allowance? There's various approvals. Engineering. Do you need environmental assessment? We'll do all that stuff under architecture. Then you're free. If you have a builder that you love on the lake, by all means, go with who you trust. But I have to forewarn you, with work on the lakes, things are pretty much given to sub-trades. So really, you have to know the actual trades that you're working with, and hopefully you've had some experience with them. I've worked with a lot of different people, and I have the best of the best for you that are organized, that they're skilled craftspeople and actually care about the work. It's very important. So that's under the separate company, completely separate company. You don't have to go with it. You can go with a builder. Lakeside Construction Management. What do we do there? Well, since you're the involved homeowner and you're used to getting things done because this is the way you do it in your own personal business or your personal life or household, we take the design, I do the pricing for you, I set you up on software so that we can work remotely. Anything that comes up, I give you notifications. They're going to ping you on your phone. They're going to ping my workers in the field. We've got contracts, we've got change orders. Things are live. This is the way it has to be these days. If you want to have control over your project, you need people that are going to work the way that you and I do. How should we work? We should work with modeling, with drawings, with specifications. There can't be any guessing. I've worked with various designers, interior designers. Now, I'm going to bring you a good one on the show in a couple of weeks. But in a lot of cases, people have ideas. They don't know where to spec them. They don't know the sizing. They don't know the options, the finishes. It takes a lot of work. I'm going to show you a lot of materials. I'm going to show you what we've used and exciting design and construction for your particular lake and your lifestyle. And then I'll take you to the sweet spot of specifications where cost meets quality expectations. And then you can visit and see for yourself, see what you like and what you don't like. Under that company, I get you all the discounted materials. Some cases it's close to wholesale, but you have to like it. And then you have to let me know what you're excited in so that I can take you there. So it's quite exciting. There's a design aspect there for you. Being on the right lake, for starters, find the lake that you want to be on. And that's not only the physical locale, the people too. If you have a little bit of history with people, like, don't leave that. Like, build where you are. Try to, don't let go of the people that you love on the lake there, because they're cherished for sure. But what we can do is, we can do modeling, and then we can do pricing, and everything is live and it's organized. The great thing is that there's an off-ramp for you. So just ask yourself when you're asking around, where's the off-ramp? Are you going to a builder and they're requiring a $300,000 deposit? How can you do that? Like, do you know what you're going to get out of it? You have all these ideas and you have all your money in the account, which is great. Then you're paying deposits. Paying deposit for design, engineering, surveyor, builder, and the conversation starts to shut down a little bit, and it gets harder and harder to get what you want. This is why Lakeside Construction Management was set up, so that there's an efficient way to optimize designs, make the changes, and get things the way that you want them. It's a full, complete service, working directly with myself. You meet the workers, you meet the crews. It's personal and hands-on. Is that for everyone? For people that are building something that is either unique, they have high expectations, or they've built in the past and they want to avoid some of the pitfalls, it's absolutely essential. What sort of thing am I into? The more interesting question is what is it that you want to build? But some of the things that I see, well, I started out west, in case you didn't know. I was in an engineering firm's architecture and engineering out in Alberta. And what we did is we designed ski chalets in Fernie, BC, is basically what we did. So I got a feeling for the materials and so on, and the big beams and so on. They weren't doing this in Ontario at the time when I came back. In Toronto, I was doing commercial work of all things, some private work up north, And there was an established practice right in Huntsville that I took over at the time, focused more on the commercial side, but then it turned out that I was right in the middle of they like to call it God's country up there, without prejudice to other cottage areas. Everything up north, whatever building site you have, it's gonna be a blessing to you. So I just like to feel that whenever we're with a client, we're working on a special project in a special location. But I got out onto the lakes there, and I got more involved directly with a lot of traditional work, actually. And there's a lot to be said for the older architecture, the resorts, Lake Muskoka, Ross. So a lot of Americans would come up, and they'd go on the steam ships and Seguin and go across the lake and everything. There's a real interesting history there. I love it. I would still do projects like that. The way it's gone, though, mostly is a lot of clients, they're looking for a more modern kind of place that has the big views, but with natural materials, not austere and overly modern, but just a little more open concept, because the way they entertain is different now. All the little cute bedrooms just don't work anymore. I can start with a traditional design or like a mid-century modern with a big open timber frames. It's amazing what people have done in that genre. So we started with something like that, and then I like to go with natural stone from the quarry. So if you're in the Canadian Shield, let's go with granite. If you're down on the Bay of Quinte or Thousand Islands, look at the wonderful limestone that they have there. They have limestone with the fossils on it. A lot of the time you can scab it right from the site. So let's go with what's authentic and avoid any kind of artificial materials. If you're looking for the fake stone and the cookie cutter place, I'll tell you right now, you can save some time, find another podcast. There's a mass builder somewhere that would love to speak with you. But if you're excited in the authentic materials, I'm going down the road of exploring granite, limestone right from the quarry with you. The Douglas fir, fantastic. I would bring it from out west. We'd kiln dry it in Huntsville. I worked with a timber framer. We'd build these things. Pretty exciting stuff. Like just beautiful. It's strong. It's sturdy. It's got a nice grain. And both the stone and the timbers, hopefully like ourselves, start to look better after time. Like a little crack here, a little wrinkle there, a little bit of patina on the wood, even on the stone. It actually adds to the character of the cottage. And I love places that look better with a little bit of wear and tear. For the floors, reclaimed hemlock floors, fantastic. They're reclaimed out of, among other places, the Ottawa River. They've been in there for over 100 years. They are very stable. They have beautiful grains in the wood. If you have dogs or kids or a spouse that's just a little bit of rough and tumble around the place, you're not going to sweat it if they drop a pot on the floor. It's going to look better. The little stuff here and there adds to the character of a place. So I like that. I'm not too crazy about drywall. Like some of these materials like drywall and carpet, the off-gassing is pretty terrible for you, and you won't notice it until later on, and you're coughing and like, why isn't that cough going away? It's that off-gassing, it's not the greatest thing. So what I like, milled planks, and there's different ways of doing it. Nickel gap milled planks, they can be fir, they can be hemlock, they can be other materials, clear grains. I'll look for rare materials as well. I've actually brought in oak, curly oak, from a project that the owners just changed their mind. 4,000 square feet of this stuff. We're using it as a wall planking on one of the projects. It looks fantastic. It's really interesting stuff. So those kind of materials that are a little bit more unique. Then in terms of kitchens and baths, I like to work with craftspeople. So if you have the idea, one advantage is of like working through Lakeside Architecture is we have all the software. Like we actually have more detailed drawings than the suppliers. Like if you go to your kitchen supplier and they show you the kitchen drawings, we have all the plugins, all the manufacturers. But I like to keep it open as well. But let's get you on path first so that you organize your thoughts. Here's your own design drawings. Then we go to the craftspeople, the kitchen makers, and see what they come up with. But let's get it organized first because you are the expert. It's not the kitchen people. It's not the timber framer. It's not even myself. You're the expert on how you want to live. But this is what I like to see. For counters, sure, you can go with quarry stone. One material that I've used, which is great, is soapstone. We've used like a Vermont style soapstone. You can also get it in Quebec. So this material, over time in your kitchen, it'll wear down a little bit, and if you scratch it with a knife, you'll see the scratch. You can sand it down and oil it down, but the idea is that over time, it goes natural. So the materials that I'm specifying and that I'm hoping that you go for are take the beating well. And they look better over time because after all, it can be luxurious, it can be spectacular, but the soul of it is that you're in the wilderness, it's a cottage, it should look authentic and natural. Now, one place where I digress from it a little bit is like your windows. Your windows need to really be performing well. And I've gone to Canadian manufacturers. We should support the local economy. And there are some great manufacturers with various products. In a lot of cases, we'll specify an exterior anodized, powder-coated, typically anodized aluminum, thin frames, last forever. On the interior, I like to go with like a Douglas fir if I'm doing fir interiors with a natural wood, or you can match the windows on the outside. Now, you can save costs. Like windows on a project, they can range anywhere from $80,000 to over $200,000. So it really depends on your budget. Some of the higher end windows is that the frames are thinner. And primarily I'm going Canadian, but in some cases I'll bring in European windows because now they're actually quite advanced, very thin profiles, high performance, and we need the performance in our environment, but it's completely up to the owners. What I'm suggesting is that it's all out there. And then in terms of the actual finish, there are so many more finishes than the ones that you get in the standard catalog. So one thing to understand is when you go to a window supplier here in Ontario, you're getting the distributor. You're not getting the manufacturer. I'm getting the manufacturer, plus I'm getting a discount on it, plus it's going to go be to our spec, which is usually custom. You pay a little bit more, but the value you get can be great. And then overall, costs are quite good with in comparison to some other options, meaning suppliers that are commonly known out there. Let's put on a spreadsheet. Let's see what you like first. But at the heart of it, I do all the regulatory work. I do the computer work. There's the site management. I've got crews working on it there. But at the heart of it, I come to it as an artist like yourself. So the requirement is to take the artistic side, translate it into something that's buildable. It's going to require three things from us as a team. So first, you have to have the big heart, meaning the vision. Is this important to you? Because if it is, we'll do a great job and take this as far as we can to your specification. The hands. This was actually told to me by one time by an older fellow on site. Okay, so your heart is big enough for the custom project. The hands, meaning you need the people that can do the work that aren't all just idea. That's important too. So the heart needs to be big. The mind needs to be big, meaning we know specifications and materials and we can organize. When we're planning for you, we have contingencies. We can run the project and we know what works. So that's the mind has to be big. And I see this all the time when I have consultants and designers and interior designers, people bringing in their interior designer and they come in, oh, well, here's the sketch. Well, what is the size? What are the finishes? What are the warranties? I need to know how we're going to build this thing, fit it in with plumbing fixtures. If they're importing impossible fixtures, we can't get the flanges for them to rough them in. I like to work with what's real, make it real for you. So the hands, this is just an expression. The hands have to be large. It means, can we build the thing? So at the end of the day, here's my advice to you. If you're ambitious and you think we can pull together those three aspects, the heart, the mind, and the hands, and I'm not kidding around, this is what it takes. These are big undertakings and they're really worthwhile. This is absolutely the way to go. There is no mistake building your own place, doing something exciting, and the more challenging the site, the trickier, the steeper, the less access, the more rock on the site, it's going to result in a more challenging but exciting project. So let's check it out. Check out the podcast. It's on the lake. Check out the website, lakesidearchitecture.ca, lakesideconstructionmanagement.ca. Two unrelated companies. They both have something to offer you. Let me know what you need. I hope to hear from you soon. Flip me a call, 647-226-9860. I'm either in the studio or I'm on the site, so I'm going to get back to you and we'll get things worked out for you. Thanks so much. It's James Pitopov on the lake. I'm your guy. Thank you.